Okay, we're live. So welcome to From Katrina to Corona, Poor People Solutions, Virus Government Solutions to COVID-19 and the Virus of Poverty. A special Zoom series sponsored by Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. Poor People's Revolutionary Radio broadcasts live Tuesdays 6 until 9 California time, and Thursdays 4 until 7 p.m. on PoorMagazine.org/radio or on the dial in East Oakland at 96.1 FM. All of these Katrina to Corona Zoom broadcasts are available at PoorNewsNetwork channel on YouTube or PoorMagazine.org/TV. And I am the Black Crippled. Tiny.
I'm that poverty scholar, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter. I'm a poverty scholar. All those people you don't want to see, never want to be, look away from me. What you gonna do, arrest me? We're in your city. Yeah, and welcome to PNN, not CNN. That's Poor People's Radio. On tonight's series, we focus on land liberation, self-determination, and poor people's resistance movements across MamaEarth. This is the part one of this series because we're going to be focusing on and speaking with more folks across MamaEarth on this issue. Tonight we have special guests from Oakland to Argentina, and speaking with resistance warriors all the way from Polo Obrero, which are powerful warriors we're going to hear more about, doing the work in the streets with workers and poor folks in the place the colonizers call Argentina. As well, we hope to be joined by Sharina Thomas from People's Community Medics, and also folks from Southern Occupied Turtle Island from Sojourners Land. And the powerful warriors from right here at Homefulness, a homeless people's solution to homelessness that we are actually building as landless and poor people in occupied Huichin.
And we give shout outs to Elder Malik Rahim from Common Ground and so many more of our ancestors that guide us every day at Homefulness. Tonight we begin with land acknowledgement and prayer to start us in a good way. Then we hear from powerful folks doing this liberation work.
Before we go on to our prayer, rules of the video, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Mute yourself if you're not speaking so we can hear everybody right. And when you speak, Tiny and I will mention your name. Okay, thank you.
Ibashe, Samin Kakonawari Ataviho, O Mateo. I just want to begin us tonight by honoring the ancestors of this land. We're on occupied Huichin Ohlone land, guided in our liberation work by First Nations warriors who are still here 527 years later after the genocide of colonization. So honoring those ancestors, honoring this beautiful Ohlone Lishan land and all of Turtle Island, honoring the ancestors who guide us every day, and honoring all of the ancestors from all over MamaEarth who sit with us on this beautiful digital street today so we can lift up our voices and actually live a different way in this very serious time. Oh, Mateo.
So to ground us into please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you. So to ground us in tonight's discussion, we will start with 2 short excerpts of a video on homefulness, followed by a poem by homefulness former House's co-leader and poet D. Allen and Muti, another indigenous, formerly houseless co-builder, leader of homefulness. Kibu, take it away.
So some reason we're not getting the sound on this. I don't know, Leroy, if there was a sound piece you have to also enable.
Nope, that's okay. Just watch it.
Okay. What's happening right now, for people who don't know, is we're pulling up the asphalt. This was intentionally blighted poor people neighborhood, like most of MamaEarth is when we are destroyed by the colonial concepts of blighting and banksters and gentrification. And we're pulling up this concrete and this asphalt that was put on top of this beautiful piece of MamaEarth. Move on to the next one, I guess, Tivo, which you may not be able to, probably just show a little of it if you can't hear it, because it doesn't make much sense. Go ahead, Tivo, you can pull the next one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing it.
To the people, my name is Auntie Frances, and we're on the liberated land we call homefulness. We are now in phase 4 of our construction of housing for the people, but we don't have any more money now. As you can see, we've completed the windows, the doors, the electrical. And the sad part about this, capitalism has caused us to slow down on our production because of the cost. The cost is so disgraceful, so disrespectful, that it makes projects like this totally impossible without the helps, financial helps of people who are privileged and have the money.
Go ahead, Dee.
Beyond. Excerpt. Somewhere in 1990s Oakland, a self-determination vision was discussed between mother and daughter inside of a parked car they both slept in. Their ambition was a solution to extreme poverty. Their words contained an alternative to sleeping in cars, owning scraps of lives, living nowhere, deemed undesirable to the eyes. From homelessness to homefulness. Flash forward 2012, when the right place was found, the smothering asphalt covering the land had to be broken, lifted, hauled away. The dream had to live beyond 2 homeless females. The dust had long cleared, the construction tools long in storage, the asphalt long removed, the land long mended, seeded, planted, and flourishing still. Homefulness means everyone has a home, even plants and animals. It also means there's nothing this one-way system can offer us that we couldn't teach, build, or farm ourselves.
Oh.
And that's an excerpt from my long poem called Beyond.
Ashe. Just want to shout out to D. Allen, a poet, one of the many poets and cultural workers that built Homefulness, a homeless people's solution to homelessness that we're still building. And one of the things we say is Homefulness was built with a poem. And so you literally heard one of those pieces of that foundation, literally and figuratively. And with that, I want to bring in one of my other hermanos, brothers, a powerful warrior and co-leader and builder, Muteado Silencio. Can you say a little bit about Homefulness as one of the residents?
Yeah, buenas tardes, gente. My name is Muteado Silencio, one of the co-builders of Homefulness. You know, I want to start saying by, you know, the Porn magazine, Homefulness ourselves, myself, a migrante from Michoacán, Mexico, displaced from our homelands. I'm bringing that to say that all of us at Porn magazine and Homefulness, as people, poor people that come out of struggle, we are those folks of color who this country, America, wasn't built for. And so, you know, we're literally taking the tools and building an ambition in what we want to see in our community, in our barrio, which is Homefulness, you know, a place, right, where we ourselves, people who myself have never been to college, who don't have education, who I am a day laborer, a trabajador. I work with my hands, with hammers, with nails. And just like that, you know, we've been working with folks in the community, people who were told they didn't know how to build, people that were told that we're illiterate. And so all of us are joining forces in building Homefulness, which is 4 townhouses. We're also going to be building a cafe, who's going to be run by the community. And I just want to, you know, to close by saying, again, we are the unwanted, we are the clients, we are the ones who are supposed to be in the prisons, we're the ones supposed to be in the streets, we are the forgotten, and we no longer want to do that. We want to be self-determined and build just like the Zapatistas, just like the Move 9, just the Sin Tierra in Brazil, and all these places, people, indigenous people in Bolivia who are tired, and we want our autonomy, and we want our land back.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And so what you heard, Muteado and Dee and myself and my son Tibu is helping with this, and Leroy, we're all co-founders of Homefulness. There are many more. There's literally hundreds in our village who are working on this, right, in our community. Some are here or some are not. But it's all rooted in something we call poverty scholarship. And I don't know if Tibu can bring up that cover, because this is something we share with fellow land liberators and poverty scholars and poor folks all over the world. You don't need a paper from a pinche institution to say you're a poverty scholar. What you need is your life, and the life in struggle with disability, incarceration, criminalization, these false borders, and all these other ways of colonial terror. And so the last thing, I'll just turn it to Leroy to talk a little bit about how we fund this, quote unquote, how we get those blood-stained dollars into love-stained dollars.
Yeah, so Port Magazine is a way of living, a way of life. Port Magazine has been on this earth for almost 22 years. We went through the whole process of the nonprofit system. We fought the city in San Francisco when we had, you know, the city budget hearings all night, all day. We learned from that, and we went inward, and we said, you know, we have our own answers, we have our own teachings, and that's when Porn Magazine, you know, like I said, went inward and found out that we could teach other people with privilege, you know, people with privilege, not only with money privilege, but institutional privilege and how to redistribute that kind of privilege to people that are poor, that have been here way before them. We talk about gentrification, people moving and like they just own stuff. So Poor Magazine has been teaching that through our People School that's been going on for more than 10 years. And because of this teaching, Poor Magazine has a group of people that went through our school, that went through our teaching, that went through, us solving our own problems, and people that had the privilege. And after that teaching, after that long 10 years, 20 years of teaching, they came back and said, we want to work with you, hand in hand to liberate a piece of land in East Oakland. So this is not charity, this is hand in hand together, and that's how we got the piece of land. And it's not only this land, the bank of reparations now, because Poor Magazine is about a we. So now the bank of reparations, help single mothers in crisis, help houseless people, so the bank of reparation has helped people from East Oakland to Las Vegas to all across, the country.
Sure. So that's all we're going to say about it right now. Just know that for anybody watching and for our comrades in Polo Obrera, who we're going to hear from next, we share this medicine. We go places, and right now in COVID, we're going to be sharing on Zoom, but we go everywhere and share this medicine because really the idea is that we need to unsell Mama Earth. Mama Earth, Madre Tierra no compre, right? We can't keep buying and selling her like a commodity because this is what we're in, this capitalist reality. And I see we got Bilal joining us. We're going to move to Polo Obrero, but then we'll have Bilal talk a little as well. He and others are part of this really powerful village of Prensa Obrera. And also the sister that you saw talking about hopefulness is Auntie Frances Moore, Black Panther, just like Bilal, some of our elders who help us, who steward us, as well as Karina Gold, First Nations elder, who we follow leadership from. When we talk about land anywhere in colonized places, you have to go first to the First Nations people who were destroyed and silenced before you can even do anything. That's basic protocol. So anyway, more on that. We thank you for listening on this, and we want to switch now to our powerful guests who do all kinds of other powerful poor people movements in the place known as Argentina. Their name is Polo Obrero, and they're one of the largest and most combative social organizations, which means we love you already. It came out of the Picatero movement of the late 90s and early 2000s in the face of the enormous unemployment and poverty. Piquets refers to blockades of highways, of roads, but stems from picket lines, striking workers. The Polo was founded 20 years ago at the fusion of local groups and was part of the National Assemblies in 2000 that gave Picatero movements its first common plans of action, which paved the way for the popular rebellion that ousted the austerity government of Fernando de la Rua on the 19th and 20th of December 2001. So there's a lot more we could say. They're doing powerful work in the streets, but let's bring in the guests. who have an interpreter with them. Yeah, we will be speaking the other colonizers' language, aka Spanish today, but we're joined by a beautiful interpreter. So Gil and, or Chiquito, Guillermo, Eduardo, excuse me, and then Andrea, I think is who we're joined by. And whoever of you would like to go first, please do.
Empiece el que quiera.
Bueno, buenas noches para nosotros. Aquí son más de las 10 de la noche. Les quiero agradecer a todos los compañeros, camaradas que están ahí, haciendo este esfuerzo virtual para comunicarnos, para conocer, intercambiar experiencias, cosa que siempre nos parece muy bien entre los pueblos del mundo, entre los trabajadores del mundo, porque necesitamos esa experiencia para nutrirnos y desarrollar también aquí nuestra orientación conjuntamente con la que ustedes nos aportan.
Okay, good night for us, because it's over 10 p.m. over here, and hello to all the people who are making this possible. And we want to thank you, because for us it's very important to learn from different experiences. It's nourishment for us, and it strengthens us on the struggle, on the path of struggle we're on.
Bien, nos ha ahorrado una parte importante la compañera nos ha ahorrado gran parte de la presentación la compañera de la revista, al explicar muy bien nuestro origen, nuestro desarrollo, que tiene ya 20 años, y que, bueno, queda expresado precisamente en la lucha. Solo destacar que nuestra expresión de lucha, que tiene muchos campos, la lucha por la tierra, por la vivienda, ahora después si tenemos tiempo podremos explicar nuestra lucha, nuestro ángulo para desarrollar esta lucha, pero también la idea de la unidad de la clase obrera, de la acción común con los trabajadores, por las reivindicaciones comunes, que hoy son, a nuestro entender, en todo el mundo, fundamentales para enfrentar la ofensiva capitalista.
Okay, the comrade who introduced us saved us a lot of work, because she already told you a lot about our history and where we're from, and we'll tell you a bit more if we have time. But we're struggling for several demands. Of course, land and housing are central among them, and a method that we want to point out essential to us is the unity of all workers, employed and unemployed, to demand for each of our necessities, to struggle together for them. And that's, we think, is crucial to the moment we are living in.
Bueno, quería dejarle, antes de dejarle a Andrea algunas palabras. Bueno, Andrea, se las presento un poco yo. Es una compañera dirigente del movimiento villero, movimiento de la capital, muy importante de lucha por la vivienda, por la urbanización de las villas de capital, de los asentamientos. La compañera es además inmigrante peruana y también ha sufrido enormemente el racismo, las políticas segregacionistas que existen lamentablemente en todo el mundo.
I also want to introduce Andrea before leaving her use of the word, use of speaking. Andrea is a leader of our movement of Pueblo Obrero in the shanty towns and the slums of the city of Buenos Aires, of the capital of Argentina, and she is part of the struggle there for urbanization of the shanty towns, for proper urban development. And also she is an immigrant from Peru, and as such a victim of racism and discrimination, which also exists in our country.
Andrea, bienvenido.
Bienvenida, compañera.
Bienvenida, Andrea. Desmuteate, Andrea, para hablar. Ahí está. Great.
We can't.
I will translate for her. I'm able to hear.
Okay. Okay.
My name is Andrea Luque. I'm very pleased to meet the comrades in the United States. My name is Andrea Luque of the Polo Obrero. Sí, Andrea. In the slums of the city of Buenos Aires, the majority of us are immigrants and unemployed. Sí, Andrea. We demand from the Argentine state our rights as workers for a better quality of life. Sí, Andrea. The working class cannot be oppressed or be swept to one side by the government.
Mm.
Sí, Andrea. It is, migrating is not a crime, so we take to the streets even under the pandemic because we don't have a choice and we have to demand our rights.
Oh, shit.
Sí, Andrea. Un segundito, Andrea. So over 20 years, I've known the Polo Obrero and the comrades of the Workers' Party, and together we have struggled. In the days, like you were saying, of 2001, when the Piquetero movement stood strong, and the pickets, the roadblocks were on the streets, I joined them, and we've been fighting for housing, and we've been fighting against discrimination, which we suffer. That they, because we're immigrants, they don't want to give us health, the possibility to go to a hospital. And we've been fighting against the precarization of labor, that, for example, not having health insurance because, the job is not having union jobs, which give you access to health insurance. Sí, Andrea. ¿Te escucho?
That's a lot. Now we lost.
we go on struggling under this government in the neighborhoods because this government goes along with the demands of the IMF, but doesn't comply to the demands of workers. So the organization, the struggle has to go on.
Wow. Whew.
So I want to give a salute to all the comrades, to interchange ideas and experiences and to struggle together.
Sí. Gracias, Andrea. Gracias, Eduardo. Muy
No,
bien.
al contrario,
Oh,
gracias a ustedes,
sí.
esos puños siempre en alto, pero quería agregar que nos ha llamado mucho la atención la lucha de Estados Unidos a partir de, no a partir, pero como con epicentro en el asesinato del compañero George Floyd, que ha significado toda una rebelión popular que continúa hasta hoy, que evidentemente expresa una rabia popular contra los gobiernos y las políticas capitalistas que entendemos tiende a extenderse en todo el mundo. Acá hemos tenido la rebelión chilena, la rebelión ecuatoriana, los pueblos se rebelan frente a las políticas de ajuste, y aquí en la Argentina, en el medio de la pandemia, con un gobierno no como el de Chile, no como el de Ecuador, de características distintas políticamente, es un nacionalismo de contenido burgués, pero que expresa también, como recién decía Andrea, una política capitalista que también se expresa en el terreno de las necesidades de la población en medio de la cuarentena. Para el Fondo Monetario y para los bonistas hay rápidamente recursos, y en cambio la población trabajadora tiene que sobrevivir con apenas 5.000 pesos cada 2 meses, que es lo que hasta ahora se ha pagado, y por lo tanto una suma muy inferior a lo que se necesita para vivir en la Argentina. El salario promedio en la Argentina supera los 45.000 pesos, y la canasta familiar está en 100.000 pesos, cuando el gobierno ha entregado en 100 días de pandemia apenas 2 ingresos familiares de emergencia de 10.000 pesos cada una en 100 días.
So he wants to add the interest that in Argentina is called, we have on the struggle that is originated or has a high point in the response to the murder of Comrade George Floyd, and that we see that the popular rebellion that is still underway in the United States is part of an international struggle. And we've had, of course, rebellions recently in Ecuador, in Chile, here in Latin America, and in Argentina, even under the quarantine, the shutdown and the pandemic, there are struggles, because even though our government is different in its policies or has differences with, for example, the government of Chile or others, and it says it's a nationalist or a progressive government, the truth is, like Andrea was explaining, that when the IMF or those that have the bonds of the foreign debt come calling, their demands are kept with. But unemployed workers are supposed to live, if they get the government check, on 5,000 pesos every 2 months. And so what a family needs to live in Argentina is calculated in 100,000 pesos. So really, with the money that the government is giving unemployed people, it's impossible to live on.
So I would love to be able to ask you guys some questions, but we want to make sure there's a little bit of space for Sister Sharina. Are you on there, Sharina? Is that you? Give us a heads up.
Yes, hey, what's up with
Okay,
you?
hold on one sec. So again, as we're talking about struggles, although that sound is really bad, somebody got to mute themselves for a second. As we're talking about the fighting the state, which we know we have to do, we're also talking about building. So as we fight, we build. And one of the other movements that is a poor and Black mama-led movement that we walk with at Homefulness and Poor Magazine is People's Community Medics. So I want to invite Sharina to talk if you could, about what the medics do and how you got started.
Sure. Yes, my name is Sharina, and I'm one of the former members of the Oscar Grant Committee. I started with Oscar Grant Committee in the fight for justice for my brother, Antoine Thomas, who I've been fighting tooth and nail to free, who's got a very racial, discriminatory sentence. He got sentenced for like a lifetime sentence, and I mean, just an enormous amount of time when if it was somebody else, they wouldn't have got that much time. He got like a few years. He's supposed to be getting out. They said the earliest was this year, but being that they haven't even thought about even talking about letting people out. Not him. And he's starting to get sick in here. So anyway, sorry about that. I got off sidetracked, but I'm talking about my brother and how I was fighting for justice for my brother when I joined Oscar Grant Committee. And that's when I met Leslie Taisha Phillips. And she and we've been working together for many years together. We did the investigation of murder, and we started working together every day. And in that time, we would like do organizing work for Oscar Grant, and I became part of the steering committee. We got invited out to do investigation of Oscar Grant's murder. And pending investigation of Oscar Grant's murder, I got a chance to ask questions. It was during that time we did an interview with the whistleblower. He disclosed some questions because the rest of the world had questions about Oscar. Like if he would have lived if the ambulance was called right away, he had got shot. And the question all over the place because it took them like 20 minutes to call for Oscar and the ambulance for Oscar to come. In that time, we asked the question, and Sean Gillis told us no because the way that that Oscar was hit, the bullet went into ricocheted and went back up into his body. The injuries itself would not have let Oscar live. From what Sean had told us. In the meantime, I got a chance to ask questions. Things that happened when I was a kid, because my mom used to do a lot of first responder work, and I used to watch her as a kid. But I always used to wonder why did it take so long for the EMTs to come, and I used to always wonder why was the police there, and I used to wonder why were they stand? Why would they not allow people to pray with the victims? Why allow, like sometimes they wouldn't allow the community to help out people that were like bleeding and are in trauma. If the police came first, they would make you stop helping people. And so I asked he told Leslie and I death enforcement a written policy, but that's a policy that they live by. And so now, as time goes on, now you see that it's coming to pass. Like this is true. It's like that. This is what they live for. They live to kill us. And so I was like, well, that horrified me and Leslie, and Marty. And so we were sitting in the car riding on the way from Pete's Coffee to 85th Avenue. horrified and crying of the fight is because that opened up a can of worms. Now we know why our people are dying, because the police doesn't even to let the ambulance come in because they deem it unsafe for our people to come in because of maybe they might have their own personal reasons. Now we know that most of the time it's racial or some relationship that they done had with the victim or something like that. You just never know. But they're letting our people bleed to death. And so Leslie and I decided to form the People's Community Medics. We decided to help. We want to help our people, save our people's life by all means necessary. At first, we didn't really know how we was going to do it, but we started reaching out to people immediately, like as of immediately. When I say immediately, People Community Medics was born, I want to say less than like a year. And we decided to save our people, train our people how to survive gunshot wounds, bleeding trauma, seizures, how to be first responders before the EMTs arrive. We later on gradually moved into like the tear gassing and all of that stuff because we were getting tear gassed out there during the occupied time, during the fight for justice for Oscar. We were getting beat down out there on the grounds and mistreated, and our people were getting hurt and didn't know what to do then. So Leslie and I trained on what to do and how to train our people on how and what to have during these times when they're out there protesting, and how to treat tear gassing and how to treat our bodies and what to do to protect ourselves when we're out there. We started doing more work into the community, and it's like doing more. I started doing more advocating and talking to children because I love children. So I've been advocating to children, going to schools and training them on how to be first responders so that they can save their own families and their own friends and get them the pledge to do no harm. So those are the kids that I train. They tell me they're not going to be people out there in the community that is hurting each other and causing their mother hurt and pain or, you know, getting locked up just like that, you know. So I get the kids to do that, and that makes me feel good. So that's some of the stuff I do in the community.
Woo! Woo! I hate to say your connection was kind of funky, but it came through, fam. You're beautiful and amazing.
I'm traveling, so
I heard that. Trying to get that dental care. I feel you.
Exactly. I have to get that done.
Right on, Sharina.
Right on.
Hey, Muti.
Woo! I just want to say, I know Bilal has joined us, and I also wanted to leave space for any questions. We have about 10 more minutes. And there's other powerful warriors like Jonathan Gomez and others. So I don't know if anybody, Leroy, turn it back to you and see if anyone has comments or questions they'd like to jump in.
Hey, Leroy.
Uh-oh, Leroy might be on mute. Yeah, he's on mute.
Hello, people. Sorry about that. Hey, what's up, everybody? So we're going to open it up, right, to questions?
Yeah, if anybody has any comments or questions, I know Bilal joined us, and I have a question for Argentina people also.
Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna ask Eduardo and Andrea. And by the way, I know it's late, and poor Andrea looked like she'd been working today. So I love you, Mama, and thank you for staying up this late, because it's a long day. I feel you as a mama. You talk about the IMF, right? And we call them the banksters, right? The banksters and the gangsters. I just wonder, how much does that have to do with, is that because Argentina has a debt with the IMF, or like, how does that actually impact you all as on the ground workers?
Bueno, enormemente impacta porque las políticas del FMI son, ¿cómo? Perdón. Bien. No, decía que
huge impact.
Nos afecta enormemente porque el FMI implementa, junto con los gobiernos y con los mercados financieros internacionales, una política de ajuste a partir de los préstamos que otorga, que en general han sido a empresas que después trasladaron esos préstamos, esos créditos, a la población. Entonces eso afecta directamente el presupuesto nacional de salud, de educación, de trabajo.
It has a direct effect because the IMF, together with the local governments, implement austerity plans, because these debts, which often started as the private debts of companies, were taken up by the Argentine state. And to be able to pay them off, the IMF imposes austerity plans, which means cut back on health, cut back on education, cut back on public services, so it has a direct effect on us.
Y es una deuda que lamentablemente arrastramos desde la época de la dictadura militar de 1976, una deuda que era privada, de empresas privadas, que pusieron al Estado como garante, que tuvo que después salir a pagar esa deuda, y por lo tanto fue trasladada al conjunto de la población, y los recursos nacionales, que no son pocos, los recursos naturales, se pusieron al servicio de ese pago de la deuda, tanto en los gobiernos de la dictadura militar, como en los posteriores que vinieron de radicales, peronistas, alianzas, y otros sectores como los liberales de Macri, llamados liberales, que en realidad es la derecha macrista, que se emparenta con la derecha de Bolsonaro, con la derecha de Trump, que existe en todo el mundo y que han aplicado planes de ajuste, igual que los gobiernos peronistas y radicales.
So this debt started with the military dictatorship that started in 1976, which made the state take over debt which had been made by big companies here in Argentina. They had made private debt and the state took it over and puts the national resources, which are great resources of our country, at the expense of paying this debt. And this has continued, and with the interest, it has snowballed and has continued to be paid under the different governments of the Peronist Party, of the Radical Party, of the Macri government, which was the previous government, which was similar to Trump and Bolsonaro. But these different governments have all privileged the foreign debt, which continues acting as oppressing the country to this day.
Wow.
Actualmente hay una política de ajuste en la Argentina donde se han bajado los salarios de los jubilados, donde se ha reducido el ingreso de los trabajadores en el medio de la pandemia, con una inflación muy importante, una política que ha también implementado el gobierno desde la paralización, el congelamiento del presupuesto nacional. Está funcionando con un presupuesto de hace 2 años atrás, que se votó en el 2018, y por lo tanto todo está sometido a un ajuste, excepto una nueva oferta que el gobierno acaba de hacer, que el gobierno de Fernández y Kirchner acaban de hacer a los bonistas, que directamente le reconoce un valor por encima del valor de mercado a los títulos de deuda que tienen estas empresas.
So we are, with this government today, living new austerity measures. They've cut back the pensioners, what the pension people receive. They've cut back wages. We have great inflation going on, and the budget, the current state budget for all the different parts of public services is frozen from 2018. We have a budget that's 2 years old. Inflation is eating away at all public expenses except for debt payments. The government of Alberto Fernandez and Cristina Kirchner has just made a new offer to the holders of the public debt, which is higher than the market value of the bonds of the debt. So they're actually offering them more than what that debt is worth on the financial market.
Okay.
Por último, y déjenme agregar, a partir de lo que la compañera recién relataba, por lo que he entendido de su hermano, del asesinato de su hermano y esa situación tan dramática que relató, que nos conmueve, pero además nos identifica, porque en la Argentina ya vamos por 18 o 20, alrededor de 18 o 20 casos de gatillo fácil de la policía de la provincia y de distintas policías, y volvemos a tener en la Argentina una palabra que para nosotros es dramática, que es la de desaparecido. Hubo 30.000 desaparecidos en el 76 y hoy tenemos un nuevo desaparecido que quiero que recuerden el nombre, se llama Facundo Astudillo Castro. Hace 70 días que está desaparecido por la policía de la provincia de Buenos Aires, y eso tiene una gravedad enorme en una Argentina sitiada por la enfermedad, pero también por la represión del Estado.
So finally, I wanted to say that we are moved by what we heard the sister say about, if we understood correctly, the murder of her brother. And we feel identified as well, because in these months of the shutdown, there have been between 18 and 20 police murders, especially of youths. And now we are also have a new desaparecido, a new disappeared. We had 30,000 disappeared under the dictatorship. And now I want you to hear this name. His name is Facundo Castro, and he's been missing for 70 days. Last time they saw him, he was picked up by the police of the province of Buenos Aires. So, well, we're facing the disease, but we're also facing police repression here in Argentina.
Oh, wow. I know we're running out of time. I do want to say that the other mensaje, the other message of Sharina and Homefulness is that we also can build our own, right? That there's a self-determination move, Africa, you know, long live Juan Africa, that there's these things we do called the Stolen Land Hoarded Resources Tour. So we fight the government, yes. We fight the police who kill us, yes. But we also build our own. And so we go to wealth hoarders, which I know there are in Argentina, just like all over the world. And we tell them that you have to stop just hoarding your money. And so I just want to offer that. I don't know how you guys do that, but we would love to come to Argentina and do a Stolen Land Hoarded Resources tour with y'all after COVID. And I say that to say that there are, in other words, there's two fights that can happen at the same time, right? That's all.
Okay, so Milt has his hand up. Milt, go ahead.
Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah, Milt has the question.
Okay. Okay. No, how would I do it? Should I do it in Spanish or in English?
Spanish is fine, but just translate it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do it in English, and then the brother Eduardo can translate it. And I would try to be slow. Just that, you know, as I want to say, as what you mentioned about the brother George Floyd, the repression of the police brutality that is happening here, and also because the pandemic that we're living right now with the corona. There's a lot of middle-class people here in the U.S. Waking up, realizing that the police is not here to protect us, that the government, again, you know, don't give a shit about a lot of us, you know, or don't give a shit about the majority of us, unless you're one of them, one of the 1%. You know, my question is, have you seen middle-class people in Argentina who were more into the right or more into believing the American dream or the Argentinian dream about success and a nice house and a car, and not realizing, because I want to say one of the things that happened here in the U.S. with the pandemic, it wasn't the government who came in help the Black and brown communities. It was regular folks, regular grassroots community organization. It was churches. The government say, hey, you can't leave, and put a shelter in place and say, figure out however you're going to figure it out. You know, he did give some unemployment to sprinkle some crumbs to some of us. But my question is, have you seen in Argentina, and I also read an article that there's more poverty in Argentina even before the pandemic. Somehow, you know, the numbers of middle-class people falling through the so-called cracks. But do you see a new consciousness with the pandemic, more and more people realizing that a lot of our governments don't give a shit about if you're poor, if you're migrante, if you're Black, if you're brown, if you're Indio?
Andrea or Eduardo or anyone?
Sí, miren, evidentemente la clase media es una clase que está precisamente en medio de dos grandes colosos, entre la clase obrera.
The middle class is a class which is, as its name say, in the middle of two giants,
Y la
the
clase
working class
capitalista.
and the capitalist class.
Evidentemente, un mundo atravesado previamente a la pandemia por una crisis capitalista mundial, donde hay un ajuste que se traduce en reformas laborales, reformas previsionales, es una clase que está amenazada, o es un sector que está amenazado por ajustes laborales. Y ya hemos tenido en otros años, en años atrás, el pase rápido de la proletarización de trabajadores que antes podían considerarse de clase media, como por ejemplo los docentes, y que hoy son sectores que están a la cabeza de la lucha, en muchos casos, de la lucha por sus reivindicaciones, porque la clase capitalista, en su voracidad, en su crisis, en su imposibilidad de desarrollar las fuerzas productivas en los términos capitalistas, ataca las condiciones de vida de las masas.
Okay, so yes, even before the pandemic, we are living a capitalist crisis, which causes austerity attacks against our living conditions, and which has, for example, labor reform, pension reforms, different attacks on our living conditions. And the result of this is the proletarization of sectors which used to be considered well off. For example, teachers in Argentina used to be considered a relatively privileged sector, and today they are a very important sector in the struggle. So what we are seeing is that the voracity of the capitalist system and the crisis it is living in all the time is making new sectors have to join the struggle. Hasta ahí te lo
Yeah. Okay.
Sí, le decía a Andrea, tal vez ella puede hablar de lo que es lo que fue en el 2001, esa idea del piquete y la cacerola, una unión de la clase media con una clase obrera que salía a luchar a través del piquete, de la lucha por el trabajo, y que terminó con el gobierno de la Rúa, un gobierno muy propicio a la clase media, venía de ese sector, y que sin embargo terminó empalmando con los piqueteros. Bueno, que un poco lo contara Andrea me parecía bien.
Maybe Andrea can say something about the struggle we lived 20 years ago in 2001, because there was a confluence of the piquetero movement of the unemployed with the popular assemblies, which had a lot of middle-class sectors, even though the government, which was forcing the austerity measures, the government of De la Rúa came from a big support of the middle class. Because of the policy carried out, a big part of the middle class took to the streets and was part of a popular rebellion that ousted that government.
Okay, so it's 7:04. I think we had come to an end. I mean, we should do part 2, Tiny, huh?
Yeah, this is extremely powerful. I don't know if Sharina had something you wanted to say real quick, hon. We're running out of time, but did you want to jump in? Are you okay?
I don't know if you can hear me. I couldn't hardly hear any of it. Everything was choppy because I'm in the mountains.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If anybody want to get involved and they want to get trained on how to save your community, just like Tiny said, we're here for the people. We here for the people on the ground, and we want to save and help our people as much as possible. If you want to get trained, you want your community to get trained, I don't care if you're all the way in Argentina. If you want to get trained on how to save your community and your
all right.
family, get in contact with people's community medics. We love to keep people all over the world and save as many people as possible. That's what this is about. Like, let's build our immune systems. Let's fight against this ugly terror that's put out there against us. Resist it all and push forward. You understand what I'm saying? Don't give up.
Ashe.
You know what I'm saying? This is a struggle. We have to fight. We have to fight to get through this struggle. We can't just like give in and say, okay, we give up and all of that stuff. No, we have to fight for what we believe in. And just like they say, Black Lives Matter. And people need to understand that these lands and all of this stuff, it belongs to our ancestors. They need to be given give us what we need back, like make us whole in our communities. Say, stop taking away from us. And if people want to get in contact with me, you can reach me on Facebook under Sharina Diamond Thomas.
All right, and I'm putting that in the comments.
If you want to help, I'll put it in the comments. And just I look forward to hearing from everybody. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you, Tiny, for having me on. And fuck my landlord, fuck my slumlord.
That's right. That's right, baby. All right. Thank you, Sharina.
Thank you.
She is a ass shit. If anybody want to talk to me about fighting for justice for me, get at me. Let's form something. There's a brutal landlord.
That part.
Okay.
Go ahead, Leroy. Take it away.
Okay. So,
Gracias otra vez a los compañeros de Argentina. Que siga la lucha.
And after.
Let's go saving our people. You understand? I love you. Thank you. Bye, Leroy.
all right.
Fuerza, compañeros. Adiós. Nos vemos.
Chao, compañeros. Y a la lucha.
Okay. Thank you, people. So, turning to an ending, you can go to poorpress.net and get our Poor People Survival Guide on COVID. That's where you can get the handbook. You can go to poormagazine.org and see our website. You can also go to our YouTube page, PoorNewsNetwork.
Yeah, just so people know, this book will be coming out in Spanish. Eduardo and Andrea, también este libro en español en un mes también. And so we'd love to send you one as well. And it's really just about recognizing the connection between la pandemia de pobreza y pandemia de corona, right? Y policía, terror. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, so we'll be back next Sunday, same bad channel, same time.
All right. And you can get these recordings of tonight's broadcast on Poor News Network on YouTube. I just want to say to Eduardo and Andrea and Gil and everybody in Polo Obrero, let's just have this be the beginning of a relationship. You know, tonight is just a brief talk, but let's figure out ways that we can actually connect, because that's really, at the end of the day, what we have to do as gente pobre all over the world. So we all have a saying in Estados Unidos, all power to the people. So thank you. Poder de la gente. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, take care. Have a good night, people.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Muy bien.
Muchas gracias.
Adiós.
Adiós.